Hey guys, what's up? Today we're gonna go through every book that I read last year in 2025. We got a couple stacks of books to go through and we just gotta get started. Like, I gotta speedrun these or we're gonna be here forever. All the books mainly are just romance books, couple romantasy. That's about all I read. Yeah, the spicy romance books, they're gonna be here. So just you wait. So we're just gonna get right into it. What I started reading last January, a year ago. I barely remember what I read a year ago. So it's a good thing I write these things down because I barely remember Onyx Storm came out a year ago, but it certainly did. And this was my first read. Had it pre-ordered, I was ready for it, and I'll be waiting for the next book to come out. This was the third book, yeah? Yeah. Because this is the one where the ending was like super speedy. I do remember. Fourth Wing series, love it, got way into it. Do I just like Xaden? Yeah, that's a big factor of why I'm probably enjoying these books so much. I'm gonna like give spoilers for some of these. Like, it's just gonna happen. It's been out for a year. You know, Xaden, he goes to his little dark side and everything. I'd go to the dark side too. The entire like Empyrean Empire would just like burn to the ground, and I really wouldn't care because I would have Xaden and we would just fly off on our dragon. My only note is the end of the book. It was just so all over the place. They like gave us points of views for chapters that we'd never had a point of view from those characters before, and I was like, whoa, what? Like, what are you doing? The end was like too speedy for me. I get it was supposed to be that they were like high speed battle, but that's just my one note. Besides that, great storyline. I think by the time I got to this one, I finally started learning everyone's names a bit more. You know, it only took 2 full books to get to the point of me to actually like understand the backstory of everything, but we finally got there. Next, I had read Throttled. This was an F1 racer and a girl who, her brother was also on that F1 team, and she was just like traveling along with them. Recently, someone was like to me, oh wait, were you the one who said that you liked F1? And I was like, I've never watched F1, but I once read a book about it. I don't know where they got the idea that I was watching F1. I don't know anything about that, but you know, maybe I should get into it because it was a good book. Good storyline. I feel like I'm not like jumping to read the second book right now, but we'll maybe eventually get there. I feel like they were cute together, trying to keep it relationship secret from the coach of the team and from the brother, but then of course they found out and all that stuff. But it was a good book. I was happy to finally read a Lauren Asher book because I had been meaning to. And now a really good one. This one, probably one of the favorite reads of last year. Deep End. It was an Allie Hazelwood book. She never misses. Never misses. The girl in the book used to be a diver, and then the guy was on the swim team. It was just good. Like, was it just like random like smut like throughout? Like, yeah. I think the storyline was fun. There was plot, like I promise, there was plot. Like, she had some mental block for diving and stuff, and she finally got back into it. For some reason, they were having some like agreement that they were just gonna have some little like hookup type of fling thing, and I don't know why they were doing that, but they randomly did, and the guy used to date one of her teammates. So like, why were they doing that? But the girl was like totally fine with it. I don't know. Interesting way that they got together. But then, you know, they fell in love. It wasn't just a temporary thing. So great book, highly recommend. I have some good reads at the beginning of last year. I feel like I was reading very quickly, and then towards the end of the year, we started to slow down. Next, we have The Dixon Rule by Elle Kennedy, another author that all the books, just wonderful, just great. We'll just read a book if her name's just on it. This one, the girl was kind of an enemies to lovers type of thing, but I feel like she was just like bickering with this guy she knew who like moved in to be her neighbor, but then of course, they couldn't just hate each other. No. Even though they hated each other, you know, they had some fake relationship going on. For some reason, just the fake relationship ones in books, love them, always. A wonderful trope for us to have. But of course, it wasn't just a fake relationship, it turned into something real. These are kind of like interconnected books. The characters will be in past books and this one and all that sort of stuff. So they're kind of nice to read the interconnected ones. And that's gonna move us very quickly into the next one, which So Dixon Roll was the second book in that series, and then the third book was the Charlie Method. And now this was another one of my favorite reads that year. Another really, really great one. Elle Kennedy does a lot of the Hockey Boy books, and this one, yeah, the main girl, Charlie, well, she didn't just have one hockey boy. She had two of them. Go her. Like, really good job for her. Yeah. She went and got herself two hockey boys who were best friends, and I don't know how they came about determining that they want to do things together with girls, but they did. They were on some like suspicious dating app. That's how they got together, and she just had a wonderful time having these two boys that just wanted to make her so happy at every single point in her life. Definitely high level of the smut throughout, done in creative ways. We got creative because they had three of them at the same time. Yeah, going on there. And somehow in the end, everything just worked out, and everyone was just like, oh yeah, all three of them are just gonna like, both of them are just gonna date this girl, and everyone was like, okay, yeah, sure. So go her. She got a real happy ending. Now, we needed a palate cleanser after reading whatever in the world was going on in that book. And how many pages was this? I read this book too quickly. I read it 500 pages. I read it concerningly quickly. Next, I read developmental editing. I needed to learn how to developmental edit, apparently. Because I can't just read books. I can't just have a hobby for fun. Like, I gotta make it educational. So I learned how to developmentally edit, apparently. Highlighted, too. You ever need me to developmentally edit a book? I certainly could. Then next, we have an Anna Huang book. Of course, always need some of her books being read. This was If We Were Perfect. I had went back and started reading her like beginning ones, the If Then books, and made it through all of them. So this was the last one. Well, where is it? Here. In her list of books. That was the last one there. Read all the other ones, so I was like, I might as well go back to her beginning ones. So these were, yeah, definitely shorter stories compared to the other ones she's putting out now, but still super cute, not as spiciness going on. Oh yes, Sammy, the baker. We got this boy, he's got a bakery, and then this girl who he used to date was out there living by where he was for some like project type of thing, and then her apartment flooded. She needed like emergency housing. He had a guest room. So somehow they reconnected. She's staying in his guest room. Of course, she eventually makes it to his bedroom. Basically sums up this book. It had been like years after they had broken up. They had done like a study abroad, and they were in the study abroad in like the first two books in the series, so it's like years and years have passed, and then reunited. So you can see that like I don't just read like the filthiest books on the planet. There was none of that occurring in Sunrise on the Reaping. Of course, we needed to read the new Hunger Games book when it came out. I think the movie's coming out this year. This was Haymitch's story. I feel like it's a good thing I read the book so I actually understand what in the world's going on in the movie. I feel like the movies, the plot, it just moves so quickly, and like I need the internal thoughts to be like, who's happening? What's going on in there? So the story, always good. Always gonna love a Hunger Games book. Who knows if we'll get more? It's a potential, but we already know we're getting a movie. And then I read Summer in the City by Alex Alster. So this was my first book of hers. She's definitely, at that point, was way more known for her like romantasy series, but I just don't do the romantasy that much. So when I heard she was coming out with an adult romance, and look at how cutesy it is, I was like, yeah, we're reading it. Buy me the book. Get me the book. This is becoming a movie. She literally, I think, got the movie deal before the book even came out. Like, go her. So this one, this girl who's a screenwriter moved in next door. She was like temporarily living in New York because that's where her next screenplay was gonna be taking place. So she was staying at like her sister's place or something before she had moved in, and then she ended up moving in next door to Mr. Rich Business, the bachelor that everyone wanted. They had met previously at a party, and she thought he was kind of like standoffish, and some sort of misunderstanding that they find out later. He has some like business deal thing going on that he needs to look like he's stable and has a relationship, because for some reason that would get him the business deal. I don't know. So they end up having a plan together. They're gonna go on all these dates. She's gonna pretend to be, you know, with him for this business deal, and then he's gonna go with her to all these spots so she can get inspiration for her screenplay. And super cute overall. Obviously, it's not just their fake little dating situation. You know, we all know it turns into more. Moving on to our next stack of books. And then I read my first cowboy romance. We read Flawless by Elsie Silver. She'd be writing all the cowboy romances. And, you know, truly, I think I'm going to leave the cowboy romances to others. Sorry to all the cowboys out there. I'm just not looking for the rugged cowboy man bull rider. Cowboy bull rider, is that the same thing? Can you be a cowboy and a bull rider? He was a bull rider in the book. So he'd be riding those bulls. And the girl was riding him at most other times in the book. So that's kind of how this book went. The girl was hired on as his, not like publicist, but like making sure he was like in check, because I think he'd like to be a little crazy. He's like under this girl's supervision. She's like staying at their house and all this, although like he lives with his family, so she was also staying there. So like that was a little awkward. HR apparently just didn't exist in this working relationship, because they crossed those lines very quickly with one another multiple times throughout the whole book. Cowboy thing's just not for me. Next, is this the biggest book I read the whole year? This book, a fat book we got going on here. We have Pucking Around. You can maybe tell by the title that, yeah, that pucking, yeah, let's replace that with another letter of the alphabet, and that would let you know what was going on for a majority of this book. You know how we had the Charlie method and she had 2 hockey boys? Well, we bumped those numbers up, and in this book she's got 3 hockey boys. She worked for the hockey team, and then 2 of them were players, and the other one was the equipment manager who like used to play hockey but like got an injury or something. Anyways, the book's this big because we had to get all their points of views of them doing activities together. I think there was plot occasionally. They very quickly just like all agreed to get into this mess together, and very quickly just all moved into one house together. I'm not sure if they needed to get like a specialty sized bed. That really wasn't covered, and I think it should have been, so that's my main note. You know, I think this just shows that, like, even if you add more boys, it doesn't mean I'm gonna like it more, okay? And again, of course it's hockey. Why is it only hockey that, like, all these things are going on in? I don't know why we're all picking hockey. So maybe people should try writing about a new sport, but, like, I'm not gonna complain, like, I'll keep reading the hockey books, don't you worry. Next, we have Ice Planet Barbarians. One day I was at an airport and I needed a new book to read, and this is the book that I decided to get. So she gets stranded on some other planet, as one does, and then they're big blue aliens, and she falls in love with the big blue alien. And we had a lot of descriptions of his big blue alien parts and such, and she liked it. There was like an epilogue thing in there, and I stopped before the epilogue, because I think she got like pregnant with the alien baby, and I didn't really want any part of that. She's happy on this ice planet with her big blue alien, so that's really good for her. And I don't know, the plot was just them getting acquainted, and they needed to get some special way to breathe on this planet so they wouldn't die or something. But you know what? I guess this is just teaching us that if the aliens ever come, they might not be that bad. They might not be that bad. Cool, back to another hockey book now, aren't we? This time an L. Kennedy one. This one, The Chase, this was the Briar U series. We're about to see that I read all 4 books in the series this year. Can I remember what characters were in which book? Yeah, not really. This one, Colin. Oh, he has tattoos and played video games. That's cool. What's the girl's name? I don't know. Was it Summer? It was Summer, yes. Okay, see? I have some memory of the books that I read. You know, I just read them, I know I enjoy it, and I just have a fun time. Like, I'm not taking a reading comprehension test on these. So, I don't even know all the details. These are all interconnected. A good, great hockey romance as we need. Next we went and we got a fantasy book here. This was the first one in Zodiac Academy. These two girls are twins and they find out that they had been living in like just the mortal world, and then somehow they get brought into the magical realm and they're like, you're supposed to be the heirs to this whole land. Well, they had no clue. So, and it's like the two twins, and basically they're like being against these like 4 guys who were supposed to like share the throne, because they were like, well, the rightful heirs, we don't know what happened to them. The guys, you're like, oh, okay, so like they start having some romance things, because you know, can I read a book without some romance in it? Probably not really. They're really mean to them, like extreme bullying, bad things happening to them. Then the girls are like, oh, but like they're so hot, so like it's really hard to like hate them sometimes, but yeah, they just go back and forth. They're learning the new world and stuff. There's a lot of books in this series. That's a lot. That's a lot to go through. I'm on the second book. I started that book at the beginning of this year, and I've been reading it kind of slowly. I feel like maybe I'll just do like one of these a year or something. Next, we have King of Envy, an Anna Huang book, of course. This was the King of Sin book that came out. The guy, he barely spoke. Like, so rarely said words. He was so mysterious, and that was just his thing. He would just grunt, kind of, and I don't know, everyone swooned over it. And then the girl he ended up getting with, she was engaged to his best friend, but it was like a fake engagement sort of thing. Before he even knew that, he was about ready to steal her away. So he definitely had questionable morals. He definitely had bad morals throughout, but she liked it. She liked him playing dirty like that. Just a good Anna Huang book. We'll be waiting for the next King of Sins book to come out this year. Next I read Light Lark by Alex Astor. So I did go back after reading the Summer in the City one, and I was like, okay, like I need to know what Light Lark's all about because I enjoyed the other book so much. So that one, she's like a powerless, secretly powerless ruler of one of kingdom type of things. They're trying to break some curses. So this is a love triangle one. Honestly, this is the first love triangle that I've read. Apparently in the other books, when there's interest in multiple boys, they just all get together. I don't think that's happening in the series. However many there are, she's eventually gonna choose one of them. She's not gonna get both. It was I did like it. It was a good written book. It was a romantasy one, definitely more leaning on like, yeah, the fantasy side of things. We're doing some battles, some curses, some things. And now I said she's a powerless ruler. Well, then I went and read a book straight up just called Powerless. And that one and this one, they're both young adults, so go me. So see, they're not just getting at it in all these books. There was like perhaps a kiss, and that's all. Actually, Powerless, I don't even think they kissed once. So look at that. Thinking they're sexy from afar, but not admitting to it. They're in some trials in this one, and the girl's like an ordinary, and then the other guy's elite. It's more like a forbidden romance type of thing, because they're like different social class things in there, but pretty good book overall. And then I read Love Theoretically by Allie Hazelwood. So you already know it was gonna be a good book because it was by Allie Hazelwood. The girl was a theoretical physicist, so this one is more working in the STEM field and such. Her work is on the opposite side of things, is this like experimental physicist. They're supposed to like kind of like hate each other, but they end up getting together and all that sort of stuff. They find out that what he did a long time ago, he wasn't trying to hate on theoretical physicists or something. He was just trying to prove a point. Good book overall. Then we read Caught Up by Nevessa Allen. So this one was a dark romance one. So honestly, was this the first dark romance of the year? It was. It was. See, sometimes we just gotta sprinkle in a little dark romance sometimes. Lights Out was the first one, and that was a really, really good book. So I was like, okay, of course, we're gonna be reading the next one in the series. He's ruthless, a walking red flag. Good thing red is my favorite color. Of course, a dark romance is gonna sound like that. They went to high school together, and then the girl, she's selling some pictures and such things online, and who's like the #1 purchaser? This guy who was her ex-boyfriend. And then he like shows back up in her life again. At one point, they do things in a church. Sure, up to them to do that. Why these two people were even allowed to step foot in a church, I don't know. Yeah, did suspicious activities in a church, and that's This is a dark romance book, so you know he was doing some suspicious things, and for some reason she liked it. It was a good book. On to our last pile. This is taking longer than I honestly had wanted to. Then I read Problematic Summer Romance by Ali Hazelwood, and you saw me hyping up all the other Ali Hazelwood books. You know how I felt. I will say that this one was probably my least favorite out of all the ones that I have read. But I think that's just because on a personal level, I think I just really didn't like this guy. The guy just really was not for me in this one. And it kept being like flashbacks and things. And it was like 3 years, 2 months, 3 weeks earlier. I don't care. This was like more of an age gap one, and why did they have like a lukewarm type of back and forth with each other for years? Like, just get with each other in the 3rd chapter. Can we tell that the slow burns just aren't it for me? In the present day, they were at a wedding together. They were just all kind of staying together. So it's like they were only on this vacation for what, maybe like a week? But it was all this took us to get through that week when having like this years and years of tension was built up. But like, just get with each other. Well, if you've heard of Credence, you're looking at me in a questionable way right now. And that's how I had heard about Credence is, it's a kind of a questionable, weird book. So the girl starts off, she's 17 in the 1st chapter. I'm thinking we're gonna have a pretty big jump of things. Yeah, we really don't. So that was the first like red flag in this book. So her parents die, and then she's left to go stay with her uncle in like the middle of nowhere woods in Colorado. The uncle's got 2 sons, are a couple years older. Okay, so you're like, yeah, she's probably like gonna get with one of the sons. Just one of the sons. Both of the sons and like the uncle. Surprisingly not all at the same time. Wait, hold on, sorry. She had a birthday. They at least allowed her to have her 18th birthday. And I mainly remember on like the night of her birthday, and her and the 2 brothers, they were just being a little suspicious on the couch, and then the uncle comes down and he's like, let's stop this madness, and then he bends her over and like spanks her. Can't say I've ever had a birthday like that. And then they're just trapped in these woods in the winter, in the cold, together. Maybe surprisingly, all 3 of them never did things together. They just like took turns with her. One of the brothers didn't speak, never said words out loud. So this is the 2nd book I read in the same year that one of the male main characters like wasn't saying words. Okay, we just give them trauma and say they don't speak. Maybe because then there can be less words and more suspicious activities occurring. They don't need to talk. Like, what else are they gonna do if they can't have a conversation? Not to like spoil it, but I'm going to. She ends up getting with the guy who like literally doesn't speak, and he was like the oddest one of all. I don't know how this one made me feel. Honestly, like the writing, like I read it like very quickly. So Penelope Douglas is like a good writer. But give it that. And you know what? Like, interesting story. You just gotta experience it sometimes. These next 3, I guess we could talk about them all together because I read the 2nd. I'm doing these in the order that I read things. Cool. These literally look like the exact same book you're about to say. Yeah. We have the 2nd, the 3rd, and the 4th book in Elle Kennedy's Briar U series. I'm just gonna sum them all up together. They were just all good books, good hockey books. I did read them all pretty quickly, so I would definitely recommend the Elle Kennedy books for you. And if you like the hockey romance, well, there you go. And they're all kind of interconnected. They're all kind of friends with each other. The boys all play hockey. So there you go. And okay, here was the 2nd dark romance read of the year. Small book. I read this in like 2 days. Honestly, a little concerning about the speed at which I was reading this book, but you kind of got to read it quickly. This one, of course, is a dark romance. I was a little suspicious of things going on in there. It's between this girl and her like adopted foster sibling type of thing. So it's like they're like siblings, but like not related. Okay, like there wasn't incest like that in there. Like at least we draw the line somewhere, I guess. The first half was them growing up, feeling them as like teenagers, like, started to be like, ooh, our arms touched for a bit too long, and then he would like crawl into her window and stuff. I feel like I liked the first half the most because it was And it was like, ooh, off limits type of romance. And I don't know, it was just a fun little read. Now I think we just need to share what happens at the end of the part 1. The dad comes home and the two of them are just like going at it, like the top of the stairs. Why are we on the ground at the top of the stairs? I don't know. He comes up and then, yeah, the boy, he's kind of got some problems, kind of aggressive and evil and, you know, skipped right over. Apparently she didn't care. He like pushes the dad down the stairs and he like dies, just splats on the ground, dead. And then, well, what do? They continue their activities like 1 foot away, like basically on the dead body. You heard that right. So that's the first time I've ever heard that. So like creativity points, okay, sure. Then whatever, they lose contact and they end up getting reunited, but he's like pretending to be some just random masked biker man who asks her out. And apparently she says yes without like ever hearing his name. And then, oh, wow, it's your foster brother person who you haven't heard from in years. Then the second half. Honestly, I'm gonna consider it that he tortured her, okay, in some dark romance twisted minds. Apparently on some level enjoying it. I'm gonna consider that she was tied up and being tortured, but apparently she was fine with that. Yeah, a lot happened in this small little book. If you're looking for an interesting short read, there you go. I read this one purely because I was told that there was some suspicious thing going on with the screwdriver in it, but personally, I think the stair scene was the most shocking to me and not the screwdriver. We're nearing the end. Next, I read The Defender by Anna Huang. So this was from her sports romance series. They play like football, but it's like British football, so like soccer. Getting with this guy, Vincent. He's the captain of the team. The girl's a sports nutritionist for the team, but she's also the coach's daughter. So, you know, the coach definitely doesn't want his daughter dating one of his players, but of course they do. He was a good guy. Honestly, he was. Cute story. You know how we feel about the Anna Huang books. Always a win. And then I read Holiday Ever After by Hannah Grace. I was like, okay, I need my holiday read of the year. We were approaching the end of the year. She was definitely known for Icebreaker. I think that was her first book. And no, that one, they were like wild in an Icebreaker, okay? So that was honestly what I was expecting from this one. It was like a small town one. And the guy was like a little toy maker person. And then the girl was from a big company that like ripped off their toys or something, and she was there to fix things. It was like a lot of small town dynamics, and I think I'd rather them like be out at like the clubs in New York than like a small town little winter romance. It kind of took forever for them to get together, and we've established how I feel about the slow burns. So out of her books, it wasn't my favorite one, but I will definitely read other books of hers when they do come out. And that brings us to the last book that I read in 2025, Her Soul to Take. This one was, I think it's considered dark romance, but it was like also like kind of like a demon monster romance because the girl was getting with a demon. Like the guy's in like human form, and then he has this demon form, okay? Apparently gotta make that clear. The girl's in college, she does like paranormal videos. There's like some creepy things going on in this town, and then of course some creepy demon things come out and they're like people are trying to kill her and stuff, and then Mr. Big Strong Demon Man saves her. He likes that she challenges her and that she's sassy to him, and yeah, she likes when he takes control of her. And that's how I ended out my reading of last year. And then I started reading the next book of Zodiac Academy, but I haven't finished it. I've been reading it really slowly. So that's all the books I read last year. Please give me more recommendations. You just heard all the ones that I really enjoy, so if you know of other ones that sound like them that you don't think I've read yet, please let me know, because I'm looking for some more books. We need a Barnes & Noble trip real soon over here. Let me know down below in the comments what your favorite book was that you read last year, and I'll talk to you guys next week. Bye.